else fails is again. The person who really wants to do something finds a way. The person who does not finds an excuse. The person who prevails is the person who refuses to give up. The person with the mental toughness is the person who will triumph. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. The man who can get up one more time than the time he's knocked down is going to be the winner. Being knocked down is not a problem, but staying down is a problem. Get up, because success begins by getting up one more time than you've been knocked down. The Bible declares in Proverbs 24:16, listen to this: for though a righteous man falls 7 times, he rises again. For though a righteous man falls 7 times, he rises again. Again. You're not a failure for falling down. You're a failure for staying down.
You know, it's amazing how many people in the world have done phenomenal things after having failed numerous times in their life. And so failure doesn't have to be the end. Making mistakes doesn't have to be the end. I think most people, if they're going to be successful, they have to press through some things. And one of the things that we tend to do, or one of the lies that the enemy tells us is, well, there's just no way. There's no way. There's no way out. But we have to remember that there's always a way out. And those of us who are believers in Jesus Christ know that he said in John 14:6, I am the way. We may not know the way, and he may not be telling us the way, but he wants us to believe that he is the way maker. God will make a way for you, but he does require you to never give up.
You may be tired today. You've been dealing with a challenge in your health, a relationship, in your finances for years. You used to believe that you would overcome, but now you're worn down. You don't think it's ever going to happen. Let me encourage you, what God promised, he's still going to bring to pass. You may have given up, but God has not given up. He has your healing, your breakthrough, your promotion, the right people. Now do your part. Get your passion back. Start taking hold of his strength. Don't allow that weariness in. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you so hard unless he knew you were close to your victory. He couldn't take you out, so he's trying to wear you out, get you weary, discouraged. Don't fall into that trap all through the day. Lord, thank you that you're renewing my strength. Thank you that I will soar like the eagles. Thank you that I am strong in the Lord. That battle may be taking a long time, but I believe right now strength is coming into you. Hope is coming into you. God is filling you with fresh courage, determination, vision. You will run and not be weary. You will walk and not faint.
Don't give up on yourself, because if you do, then what you're saying is God's not big enough to change me. There's nobody that is beyond change. God can change every single one of us. I don't want you to give up. I don't want you just to throw in the towel and quit. If all you can do right now is just get out of that bed and walk across the room, do something. And if you'll do what you can do, God will do what you cannot do.
The difference between possibility and the impossible lies in your own personal persistence. Persistence is the path to victory for every champion. Run to win. Be a champion for Jesus Christ. Fight the good fight. Endure hardness as a soldier of Jesus Christ. Press on in the heat of spiritual warfare. Press on in the darkest night of your sorrow, when you've lost the dearest on earth. Press on when all seems lost and hopeless. Press on when your dreams have been shattered and seem hopelessly outdated. Press on when your friends forsake you. When your best friend walks out, Jesus Christ, your best friend walks in. Press on, because the God of heaven will never leave you nor forsake you, even to the ends of the earth. Press on, press on, press on, press on, press on, press on. The victory is yours if you will not quit.
Truthful lips endures forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 19. Good evening, televiewers. Good evening, fellow Amazonians. Welcome to today's edition of Hour of Grace. As you know, this is your favorite program on ABC Amber TV, and we will be discussing on the moment of truth. Just like the verse I earlier read states, truthful lips endures forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. My name is Mr. Nancho, and with me I have nobody else but our beloved brother, Minister Silva. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Nanchop, and good evening, televiewers. Once more, you're welcome to this edition of the Hour of Grace on ABC Amber Television. And the topic for today is the moment of truth. The moment of truth. I know when often people hear the word truth, a lot of things start running into people's minds. But we're gonna be speaking some truth with respect to what has been happening in the revolution, and we're gonna be relating it to our main book, that is our text of reference, the Bible. And I believe through that, a lot of us watching this program gonna be inspired, and we will come to the understanding of a lot of things that we maybe have been asking questions. So, Mr. Nanchop, just from the passage that you put on the screen, from what I can say is that truth will always stand the test of time. Truth will always last forever, but lies will be just for a moment. Lies will always just be temporal, but truths will always stand the test of time. Remember last time we spoke and related truth to Jesus Christ that came on earth and was persecuted. And despite the fact that he was highly persecuted, even by those that a lot of people thought that they would have been working with him, he still, succeeded to accomplish his mission on earth, which was to die on the cross and restore man back to the Father, to God the Father. And we said that truth will always last. No matter how you treat truth, even if you dig a hole and put truth, like Jesus was put in a tomb, and after 3 days he resurrected, that is how truth operates. Even if you dig a hole and put truth, truth one day will come out. And that is why we are telling Ambazonians that the truth of this God-ordained revolution is coming out. If we have been looking at what is circulating on social media and all the messages coming from different angles, and the way that the public is getting frustrated every day, we will understand that truth has started prevailing in this revolution. And slowly but surely, all those who have stood for lies and believe lies will surely come to the understanding of the truth not long from now.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Minister Silva, if you take a look at the history of humanity, you always discover that evil people in power have always used manipulation to try to subdue the truth. They've always used their positions in power, money, terror, threats to subdue the truth. Let me give you a biblical example. Well, I don't know if that vibration is coming from your end. You have a phone around you that is vibrating. or because I keep hearing a vibration.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Let me just turn it off.
Turn it off.
That's okay now. Yeah, that's okay.
Thank you. So, dear televiewers, welcome to today's edition of Hour of Grace. As you know, we are talking about the moment of truth. And as I was saying, in the history of humanity, evil people have always tried to manipulate the truth. They've always tried to subdue the truth. They've always tried to bring in mischievous strategies, ideas, plans to subdue the truth. But from the Bible verse which we just read, let me put it again on the screen, just like Minister Silva was saying, truthful lips endures forever. In other words, you cannot hide the truth. He said, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. In other words, you can always try to use your lies to manipulate people. You can try to be as good as you can, but the truth is, it's just for a moment you can deceive them. You see, in the Bible, I was about giving us a biblical example. Jesus proclaimed his personality. He proclaimed who he was. The Pharisees, the Sadducees, we used to call them the Sadducees. People who were always sad when they see others progressing. You know, the Sadducees, the scribes, right. People who always claim to know a lot. You know, the Pharisees, we call them the Pharisee because they are so sight limited. They have no vision. So they always envy those with vision. You know, they always envy those with plans, those who are successful on their visions or in their visions. Now, the point here is, I'm trying to bring an image for us to understand. They went forward to claim that Jesus was not the Son of God. This is an example I'm giving from the Bible right now. Dear televiewers, please bear with me. Now, when Jesus died, they sent guards to guard his tomb where he was buried. Because they said, go and guard the tomb. We want to see if truly on the third day he will resurrect. Don't forget, Jesus told them he would die and resurrect on the third day. So they wanted to prevent that truth. What happened? This, I will call them terrorist guards, subdued themselves to the authorities. They went to guard the tomb. And what happened? On the third day, when they got up, they discovered the tomb was open and Jesus had left. He had resurrected unto the heavens, just as he said it. So there was panic in the land. There was panic among the scribes and the Sadducees. Why? Because they have been trying to make the people believe the lies. They have been trying to blackmail Jesus Christ that he is not the Son of God. Upon all what he told them, he foretold them. Now, the manifestation of the reality is taking place, is happening. So, things are beginning to go out of hands. They don't know how they can get the situation, they can gather the situation again under control. So what they did was, they had to pay these guards, to come and lie that the disciples of Jesus came and stole the dead body of Jesus Christ. Why? Because they wanted to subdue the truth that Jesus said that he will resurrect on the third day. Brothers and sisters, it seems to me like such things are happening in this revolution. It seems to me like such things are happening in this Amazonian revolution because we see these scribes, the Bible said they paid the guards of the tomb to lie to the people that it was the bodyguards, the disciples of Jesus who came and overpowered them and stole the corpse, the body of Jesus, in order to fulfill the promise. In other words, the prophecy that Jesus gave that he will resurrect on the third day. Now, they tried all this. Why? Because they wanted to subdue the truth that Jesus is not the Son of God and that Jesus did not rise on the third day. But let me tell you something, my brother. A few weeks and a few days later, that same Jesus that they killed, that same Jesus that they buried and everyone saw him being buried, that same Jesus that they lied about that his corpse was stolen by his disciples, that same Jesus came amongst them living. They saw him alive. This is mind-blowing. This is somebody they killed, they buried, they lied that they stole his corpse, and a few days later that same Jesus appeared to them in living form. How can you describe it? How can you explain to the people? now they were confused. They started going with brutality against Christians who were gathering and those who were believing the reality. You see, this is history repeating itself when I look at the Ambazonian Revolution, because we've seen cases, we've seen people come and said, they wanted us to believe all the life stories they told us about my trip to Buea. They told us this IG stole my trip to Buea. They infiltrated the minds of the people with ideologies to support and to back up their evil plans, with strategies to back up their evil plans. They wanted the people to believe the lies, just like the Pharisees. I said, wanted the people not to believe in Jesus. They never wanted the people to believe that Jesus resurrected. But you know what? The mind-blowing thing happened. Jesus appeared to them in person. Now, they could not deny the facts. They could never subdue this truth. That's what the Bible says. I will put it again on the screen. It says,
Mr. Nanchop, you are bringing out some powerful revelations there. And I think I should really, this is just an introduction, televiewers. We're going to be saying some deep things in this program that will shaken your mind, you know. Like I rightly said, you are saying some deep things there. Do you know why people like the Pharisees, you know, persecuted Jesus when he came, even though Jesus was the true light that came to restore humanity? It is simply because they thought that they had been in the business for long. And so they thought that they knew. And it's the same thing that is happening in this revolution. There are some people who thought that we have been in this thing for long, so we should be the one to make statements. We should be the one to come out with any decision concerning the revolution. But it's a lie. Ambazonians, we are here to tell you the truth. It is a lie. Jesus came as God himself, but the Pharisees, because of the pride they had, that they had been operating, you know, in the religious sphere, in the religious domain for long, with that pride, they were not humble to listen to Jesus. That was God himself that came, and they missed a lot of things, you know. And that is the same thing that is happening in this revolution. A lot of people are like, we have been in this revolution. It is, if we don't speak, then, you know, nothing should advance or nothing should move forward. That is a fallacy. That is a fallacy, Mr. Nanchop. Yeah,
that's right.
Go ahead.
As I was saying, they try to subdue this truth. Now, you should know something about the enemy and about wicked people. They are very manipulative. And most of the times they have sweet mop, what we call in the pidgin language, sweet mop. They can talk you out into their own convictions. In fact, they have what we call parole. They can manipulate you with their speeches. If you are somebody who is easily carried away by emotional statements, you will fall into their traps. The Pharisees were good at that. Now, they manipulated the population to disbelieve Jesus. But do you know what I believe about it? Just like this our introductory Bible verse says, it says, the truthful lips endures forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. See, you can do everything, but the truth will always come out. The truth will always come out. You can manipulate the people, tell them all kinds of lies. I want to tell you something. It is a divine principle that truth will always triumph over lies. And because it's a divine principle, everything is bound to operate under that principle. So no matter how much lies you tell about somebody, no matter how much lies you try to formulate against a people, it can never subdue the truth about the reality. In this revolution, we are beginning to see some things that are happening. And that's why the topic of today is what? Facing the truth.
That's right.
You know, we must know the truth. Yes, sir.
Mr. Nanchop, if we look at this revolution, there are some things that Ambazonians must be able to define and stand on clearly. The first thing we must be able to define, I will be reading a scripture later, but I just want to, you know, make an introductory statement. The first thing we must define is that we have a separate vision, which the Francophones have not caught that vision. They don't have an understanding of our vision. And we should never think that, we could work together with our brothers. They are still our brothers, the Francophones, in order to, accomplish our vision. We have a vision, we have a history, which some of them understand it so well, but have, decided to harden their hearts, not, to believe it or not to take it as it is. And that is why we also must be focused on our vision, which is restoring our independence. Those are some of the things that we must know. Those are some of the truths that we must know. That is why when we spoke of Francophones leaving and going back to their country, it was not an accident that, statements like that, came up in such a time so strong. It is because we are now facing the reality and we have decided to face the truth, and Ambazonians must accept this truth. If you look critically behind, I'm going to read a scripture, and from that scripture, I will bring out some revelations. In the book of Nehemiah, chapter 4, verse 1, it says that, but it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that we bared the war, he was in indignation and mocked the Jews, and took great indignation and mocked the Jews. And he spake before the brethren and the army of Samaria and said, what do these feeble Jews? He said, what do these feeble Jews? Would they fortify themselves? Would they sacrifice? Would they make an end in a day? Would they receive the stones out of heaps of the rubbish which are burnt? Now, Tobiah the Ammonite was by him, and he said, even that which they bear, if a fox go up, he shall even break down their stone walls. So this was a vision that Nehemiah had for the people of, for the Israelites, which was to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. But the enemies did not, catch that vision. The enemies of, the Jewish people did not catch that vision, and they fought the vision. It's the same thing with the Francophones. When we started, this revolution, they mocked us. Some of them said that, they called us all kinds of names, Ambazozo. They say, oh, where are we going to end with this thing? Do we think we can separate, the country? Or they gave us all kinds of names, and they mocked us. It's the same thing that happened when the Israelites were trying to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. They had a vision, but despite all that, we were focused because we knew where we were going to. And today, when we talk of the Francophones leaving our land, some people are tempted to compromise and say, no, we should just leave them. We've been with them for long, and they are still our brothers. The truth is that, yes, they are still our brothers, but they have not caught our vision. And the Bible says, write a vision and make it plain so that they who catch it can run, with it. They have not caught the vision of the restoration of the statehood of Ambazonia. That is why you can clearly hear the leader, Mr. Campton, makes it very clear that he does not stand for separation. And so why should we ever have anything to do with someone that doesn't align with our vision? Those are some of the truths that Ambazonians must start to, understand and stand on it and believe, so that when we make statements like Francophones should leave, they shouldn't take it as if we hate our Francophone brothers. No, they can always revisit our country, when we have restored our independence completely. But for now, we don't want any distraction. So that is the first truth I want Ambazonians to know. So I will be coming up again with, some things which Ambazonians must, must take it or leave it, because that is the reality of the revolution. Thank you, Mr.
Minister,
Nacho.
thank you. Let me add something to that. Now, my beloved brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers, I really want us to understand some things here. I'm about to say some things that I want us to take them to record. Call me anytime. Quote me anywhere. I will stand for it and I will back it up. There is something we need to understand. First of all, we need to understand that the truth is that, in fact, the topic of today is the moment of truth. And I'll be saying some things here on this TV station, on this platform right now that will blow some of your minds. But I want us to get these things and let it be on record. Because the first thing I said today was that lies can never subdue truth. You see?
That's right.
And I want us to know that that is our foundation in this revolution, sticking to the truth, standing on the truth. For so many years, La République has deceived us to believe that we are one and indivisible. For so many years, La République has manipulated our system, manipulated our parents, manipulated our country. In fact, they used their political manipulatory system under the CPDM to manipulate our people to even believe that if you don't belong to the party of CPDM, you have no place in that country. That's why you will see people who always want to attach themselves to CPDM to gain their favors, to gain the momentary pleasures of the government, of the system, of the ruling party. The truth is that that country does not, or that did not belong to a party and did not belong to a particular people. So that's why you could see one party, the CPDM, during their time of election, they will manipulate the people and they will always turn everything for their or to their favor. You see, that's why no other party could win. They are deceived and manipulated the people with a lot of lies telling. They've even deceived a lot of teachers, lawyers to believe in their own system. But it came a time where the people realized that they are better than all this. They are worth more than all this. And then they stood on that truth, that thought, that ideology. And then they backed it back with the fact that we have been a separate people. Why then should we be slaves under these people? They are the ones who never recognized, the definitions of or the terms of the union. So they seceded before us. That's a fact and that's the truth. So we're standing on that to say that you guys have not respected the treaties we wrote to live as a federal nation. You seceded from the federal treaties. Now we are standing on the fact and on the truth that we were separate people, and each and every one of us should go back to their boundaries, to the period of when they gained their independence. And that's where we are right now. La République should go back to when they got their independence and let the former British Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia go back to the period of when they got their own independence. Now, this is the point, my brothers and sisters. We are talking about the moment of truth. I want to put something on the screen for us to read, for me to bring something to understanding. Now, I want us to listen to this and see this. Oh, I think I'm putting it on top of us. Let me put it the other way around. Therefore, having put away falsehood, let each of you speak the truth with his neighbor, for we are members of one another. Now, what am I trying to say? This is a particular message I'm giving to us Ambazonians. Firstly, we, the people of Ambazonia, there is a lot of falsehood amongst us, a lot of falsehood. That's why you got some activists, they will come out and then they tell some of us clearly that they've been manipulating us with lies. They tell you, we've been lying to you. And it seems to me like Ambazonians are, we don't understand what is happening. Most of us fail to understand that we Ambazonians, we are a separate people from La République. We are a separate people with a distinct culture from La République. Ambazonians who are bent on lies tellings and negative propaganda. What I wonder is, what's in your mind? What do you want to achieve with all this? What do you really want to achieve? When you go around, you see an activist comes up every day, he tells you, let me give an example of some of the things we've been lied about. We've had some of them come online and confess to us that they've been lying to us. We have some of them up to date. They are still deceiving us and lying to us, like my trip to Buea. They lied to us that the interim government and Dr. Sako and Secretary Chris had my trip to Buea. Now we're beginning to see the realities, and the truth is coming out. As we said, you can never subdue the truth forever. Just of recent, we also had another lie telling. They came out and told us that Efang was dead. General Efang was dead. And based on that, they declared war and division amongst the Bui warriors. They created so much confusion amongst the Ambazonian soldiers just because they wanted to justify their evil deeds, why they killed Chacha. You see, they lied to us that Efang was dead, but a few days later, we saw images of Efang. I can give you so many examples of lie tellings. Now, for those of you watching on social media, lay some of those things on the comments. Comment some of the lie tellings. Some of these individuals in this revolution have been telling us. They've been deceiving the Ambazonian people day in, day out, lying and lying and lying to us, telling us lies and lies. Now, let me say something, and I want to put this back again on the screen. Therefore, having put away falsehood, let each and every one of you speak the truth with his neighbor. I think, Minister Nick Silva, this is where we have to start. Putting away falsehood in this revolution. This is where we have to start. Putting away falsehood in this revolution. Ambazonians quote me everywhere. There have been a lot of falsehood in this revolution. We had the South African cabal come. They declared they were making a pity party that this general, this person was dead. We had activists like Tapang Ivo, Eric Tato came out, they were singing. Yerima, all of them came out, they were singing and saying that Efang is dead. Why were they doing that when they knew that this guy was not dead? What was their evidence? If I will give you an opportunity to talk, say, I just want to bring something. I want to ask some questions. I want to bring something to the light. Let the Ambazonian people see the falsehood that has been deepening in this revolution, and that has led us to where we are right now. I believe that these infightings, this division in this revolution is because we have a lot of falsehood in this revolution, a lot of people telling us lies. And I'm so shocked that Ambazonians keep believing these individuals. Somebody will come to you after yesterday and tell you a lie. You believed it. He came to you yesterday and told you a lie. You believed it. He comes to you today and tells you the same lie. You believe it. Now, you discover it tomorrow that all those things he's been telling you are lies. And after tomorrow, he's still coming to you to tell you another lie. You are still believing it. What is wrong with you? You see, this falsehood and this negative propaganda in this revolution is one of the root causes of the internal fightings and the divisions. We hear a lot of Ambazonians saying that there should be unity, there should be a united front and the rest. Let me tell you something. If we cannot squarely deal with this falsehood in this revolution and start talking and dwelling on the truth, we can never deal with the root causes of this problem. Just like we are talking, La Republic doesn't want to face the root causes of those problems. The international community is forcing them to go to the root causes and to come to the negotiation table. They don't want it. And some of you, you think that if we don't face the root causes of these dividings, these infightings, and these problems in the Ambazonian revolution amongst ourselves, which one of them I believe is falsehood, you think we'll move ahead? I don't believe that. Minister Silva, before I hand the microphone on to you, I want the Ambazonians to get this picture. They lied to us that General Efang was dead. They went and gave La Republic the room to kill Chacha. And we discovered it was a lie. It was a lie. They lied to us that Dr. Sako and the IG ate the My Trip to Buea money, only for us to discover after the audits that it was Tabayang and Sisiko who ate the money. Eric Tato, the talkative baby activist on the net, goes out there, insults the people, create problems amongst the people, bring so much hatred and fightings amongst the people, built upon lies tellings, upon his formative lies. Then comes his junior brother or his colleague, and the other one with the stammerer, and tells the Ambazonian people who've been lying you people and insults the people. You have Tapang Ivo propagating evil stories, telling the generals to drop down their guns and to go to La Republic, and yet still wants us Ambazonians to believe that they are with us, they are for this revolution. And Ambazonians still yet don't have that capacity to know that this is falsehood in this revolution. We are talking about dealing with the truth. Dealing with the truth. Minister Silva, I'll hand over to you before I continue on this point.
Mr. Nanchop, if you look at the trend of events in this revolution, we will discover that the way things are unfolding, God is gradually exposing all of those people who have been out there trying to tell lies to Ambazonians. And a lot of Ambazonians are now, aware of who is on the right path of this revolution. If we look critically, when you talk of Ambazonians, I just believe it's a little faction of Ambazonian, population that still even listen to some of those guys. Because I relate every day with people on ground zero, and the comments I get from ground zero makes me to understand that those people, they don't have any, any significant, a group of people who still believe in them. So I just believe that it is just a small faction of Ambazonians who are still to be enlightened, and that is why we have programs like this to throw on light on some of the things that are happening, so that they can be illuminated and know the truth. And if we look at when Jesus Christ, was about to be crucified, and they were about to crucify him, and they brought a thief, and some people shouted and cried that they prefer the thief than Jesus Christ. That is the same thing that is happening. That thief's name was Barabbas. That's the same thing that is happening. There are some people, no matter what you do, Mr. Nanchop, they will always still listen. But I want to, they will always still listen to those cheap activists out there, like Ashwabi Boy and the rest, who are there just to deceive the people. But like I told you, if we look at the trend of events, like what happened, God will always expose what happened the last time they had the so-called rally or protest in the United States. That was a clear exposure that those people, all their rantings ends just on social media. They no longer have, that population that used to believe in them, because we saw just about 9 or 10 of them were in that gathering. And, let's just watch what will happen, in the march that is coming up, the Million Man March that is coming up in March, that is on the 13th of March, at New York. Ambazonians are seeing the reality for themselves. So I strongly believe that by now Ambazonians know those that have been telling a lot of lies and those that have been trying to manipulate them. We have seen some of those people, they lie to themselves. Each time they go, they repent to one another, and they keep, how many times has Chris Anu come out there to say, oh, I'm sorry that I did this, right? Because he is very consistent. How many times, look at Patterson in prison, has he, done something that Ambazonians will say, no, we turn our back from this? Those are people you see, and that, they stand for the truth. But those ones that keep telling lies, they always come to the public. Some even when, and a father came and prayed for them, they repented in front of Ambazonians, and the next day we saw them again, fighting and tearing themselves apart. That is, how Ambazonians should know, those that are really called to speak the truth and move this revolution forward. We see all these things happen in this revolution, and by now Ambazonians are not, too foolish that they don't know the truth. I believe that some of this, like Mr. Nanchop, you wouldn't imagine one of these 5 franc activists, Ashwabi Boy, sent a message to me, was like, I have a lot of people, I have a lot of, views, who knows you? So the revolution has come to that point where it is now who knows who, or who has a number of views. So that is where a lot of them missed it. It is no longer about 8 million Ambazonians that are dying, all the things that are happening, our children are being killed every day. And if a 5 francs journalist or activist will come and be asking me that, who even knows you? So is it all about who knows who in this revolution? So when people misplace priorities, they can always go about, and say things just because they want to make a name for themselves, and they want to, achieve their own selfish motives. But the truth is that Ambazonians, like I said, the truth is that Ambazonians know those that stand for the truth in this revolution. And like I said, Mr. Nanchop, Some of these guys just embarked on this revolution without knowing what they were getting to. They thought because they could speak, and some of them are a little bit charismatic, you know, they could come out. There's an opportunity to show themselves. And that is why you see they do everything now. They can use all kind of lies just because they want to stay at the limelight. But this thing is not all about who comes out on the social media. It is not all about who is always there on TV or who is having, you know, 20,000 number of shows. It is all about the truth. And the truth, the 8 million Ambazonians that are on ground zero and defending homeland.
That's right. You are very right about that, Minister Silva. The saddest thing that is happening right now is that we have gotten ourselves to a position in this revolution where we need to change some things. Now, I don't just want us to be rampant here and be talking about things that are going wrong. I'm always the kind of a person who, I'm always solution oriented. I don't just want to look at the problem and I'm complaining. There is a problem, there is a problem, there is a problem. No, I'm not that kind of a person, even in my private lives. I don't get into a room. It makes no sense if you get into a room and there is darkness in that room. And then you are shouting, this room is dark, this room is dark. No, that's nonsense. Put on the light. If you come into a place and there is darkness, put on the light. Of course, the Bible says we are the light of the world. We, the Christians, are the light of the world. And I believe that. And that's why when I encounter issues like this, I always try to bring in the light. Now, something that the Bible also says, it says the understanding of your word, bringeth word. The entrance of the word, bringeth understanding and light. You see, the entrance of God's word brings in light, and it brings in understanding unto the simple. I want us to understand some things. Fellow Ambazonians, how did we get to this point where we are fighting each other? We see our soldiers fighting each other. We are divided into camps. Instead of fighting the enemy, we see others fighting us. I said earlier on this show that it's not a new thing. It has been happening even in history. We've seen instances where people will always fight the truth. People always want to fight that which is good because it is not originating from them, because it is not coming from their side, because they always want to project themselves. They want to project themselves more than the people. So it is all about how important they are. It is all about their relevance. If there is a result that does not project their relevance and their importance, it must be destroyed. It must not be recognized. And this is the problem we have in this revolution. We have individuals, just like Minister Silva was saying. If you hear an individual who is boasting about the number of views he has on Facebook, he's boasting about this and that, is that what will take us to Buea? We have children dying every day. Our brothers are being killed every day. And all you can do on the social media is to insult individuals, create disputes amongst others, create fightings, and then insult people and then boast of your relevance to the people. Some even feel that without them, the revolution would die. They feel that without them, Ambazonians will not get to Buea. I want you to understand something. If you're such an individual that feel that you are just so important than any other person in this revolution, I want you to know that you are nothing but dust. You were made out of the dust. You will die and you will be buried. You will go back to the dust. You came to this world. You never had something on you. You boasting with your clothing, your possessions and the rest. Some of you, just because you've entered, you don't, when I don't talk about for pigeon, because when I think when I don't enter plane, when I don't go take asylum for some different country, now like probably key what people for ground zero, they know affect you directly. They should not others that they get the gunshot and then they feel the pains. If you just come for social media, for television, for internet, they cost people the anyhow. It shows how primitive you are. It shows how low level you are. It shows so you be of nothing. Your only importance, your self-pride will be based on stupidity and uselessness. After I don't talk that one, let me come back to the topic. Now, my brothers and sisters, how do we counteract these things? How do we address these things? I believe personally that's the first step we have to take is this. I want to put this thing on the screen, Minister Silva, for us to understand and for us to read. Now, brothers and sisters, before we go into this, I want you, if you are just joining us right now, please click on the share button, because all what we've been talking until this point is just the introduction. Now we are about unveiling some deeper truths to you. You know, we are talking about the truth in this revolution. We're talking about truth, dealing with the truth, facing the truth, you know. And I want you to click on the share button. If you are watching us on social media, on Facebook, those of you just joining us, this is your favorite program on ABC Amber TV, The Hour of Grace, where we bring you inspirational details, inspirational messages from the Word of God. And we reflect this back to the Amazonian Revolution. We make this shine upon the Amazonian Revolution so that we know the truth about the revolution. We know the truth about ourselves as individuals. We also need to know the truth on how God sees us. How God sees us. Let me tell you something. It's of no importance for you to be fighting a battle that is just humanly, for you to be fighting for something that God is not behind you. And why I personally am in this revolution is because I believe in the hand of God in this revolution. And I believe that God is the one who is avenging the injustice of the people of Amazonia. That's why it doesn't matter what nation is against us. It doesn't matter the magnitude of the international conspiracy against us as a people. You see, the United Nations, France, and the rest, they are all playing their belly game, right? Because they want to profit through La République du Cameroon from the natural resources in Amazonia. But the truth is, the time has come that Africans need to say no to the white man. The white man will not use us as their chop box. They feed from us and they don't care. They instigate wars amongst us. They give people the weapons to kill us just because they want to get our oils, our goals, and the rest. And they don't care, you see. But in the face of all this, how does God look at it? How is God looking at it? The first thing we need to understand is the perpetration of wars on the earth is not God against humanity. It's always humans against humans. God has given us the commandment. He said, don't kill. But now, for the feeble-hearted, they will say, well, why should we fight to protect ourselves? Let me tell you something. Tyranny, evil people are still in the earth. You see, you have evil people, wicked people, who are gaining influence every day. They are gaining positions of power. So they feel they can do anything. And they operate on the principles of manipulation and lie-telling. When they wanted to kill Gaddafi, they manipulated us through their media and told us they were going to kill a dictator who was subduing his people. Okay, if they had a principle that kills dictators, that subdues his people, why haven't they killed Paul Biya? Why haven't they intervened? Why haven't they intervened in the British Southern Cameroons, in what is happening in Amazonia? This is the 4th year. Paul Biya is killing people. He's destroying people. He's committing genocide. His armies are killing children and women. The international community is quiet. Yes, they are quiet. Why? Because they are feeding through Paul Biya. Paul Biya is feeding France, and of course, he's feeding the European Union through France. So they are quiet. You see the hypocrisy. You see the evil. Now, in all of this, you see that humans are perpetrating evil against their own fellow humans. And you think God is not concerned about that? You think we, the Christians, should be quiet and should only pray about it? No. In as much as we should pray, we should bring in the light. And also, we should enlighten the people to know what is in their charge and in their responsibility. Minister Silva, before I hand the microphone to you, I want to read something to the people. Okay. I'm going to put it on the screen. I want us to break it down. Let me put it on the screen. These are the things that you shall do. This is God speaking to Prophet Zechariah. Prophet Zechariah. He says, these are the things that you shall do. Speak the truth to one another. Render in your gates judgments that are true and make for peace. Do not devise evil in your hearts against one another, and love no false oath, for these are things I hate, declares the Lord. Minister Silva, he says, now we see a situation where there was a lot of falsehood, there was a lot of evil, there was a lot of manipulation, and God is saying to Prophet Zechariah, these are the things you shall do. Speak the truth to one another. Ambazonians, I feel like this is God speaking to us. We, the people of Ambazonia, we are in a situation where we are trapped by a lot of falsehood. Okay, we see Karen Bass, we see Demon and the rest, or is it Vermont or Demon? They go to the US. They are saying lies about us. They are reporting lies about us. They are not talking, they are not saying the truth about our plight. They are not telling the international community the truth about our plight. And we still find ourselves as a people in a situation where amongst ourselves, we are not telling the truth. So there is a lot of falsehood. There is a lot of falsehood. We have La Republique is telling lies about us. Atanganji is going out there killing our people, killing our women, killing our children, burning them, and is telling lies about our people. He's saying that it is the Amazonian restoration forces that are doing it. And then he's saying that it is our defense forces that are doing all those things. They are propagating evils, stories, and lies tellings against us. No, they are doing all these things to please. Oh, it's like we're having some technical issues. I will just continue while Minister Silva rejoins us. Now, we see this happening to us, the people of Amazonia. We are in a situation where La Republique is telling a lot of lies about us. They are killing our people. They are destroying our houses, killing our women and children. And then they are trying to paint the image as though we are the ones responsible for those acts. They are deceiving the international community. They are spending a lot of money to bribe the international community, to bribe the human rights corrupt organizations to say lies against us. We find ourselves again in a situation where amongst us, the people fighting for our freedom, we have a lot of activists telling lies about us, telling lies about the happenings in the revolution, manipulating us with lies tellings, a lot of falsehood. We find ourselves in a situation where people like Karen Bass, Patricia Scotland, and the rest, Guterres from the United Nations, they don't want to face the reality. They don't want to face the truth of the plight of the Amazonian people. They are there. They rather go in for their money. They go in to visit Paul Biya to collect their own gold statue. You see, there was a lot of falsehood and manipulation, my brothers and sisters. And we are there, even amongst us, propagating this lies telling, supporting these activists who are telling lies amongst us, who are creating the confusion amongst us. How then do you think we can be free? How then do you think we can set ourselves free? We have leaders who are trying to instigate fightings amongst us. We have leaders who are giving us false stories, just to create confusion amongst us. Some of them are most of this, you see them in the Kondige IG, for instance. They are bent on deceiving the Amazonian people. They are bent on telling us lies. They are bent on manipulating the Amazonian people. Now, even in Kondingi, they have developed hatred and lies tellings amongst Patasan, a righteous man, a man who fears God, a man who stood for this revolution, even with his life. A man who started this battle before many of them were there, even surfaced on the scene. This is somebody who has sacrificed his family. Yet we see a lot of falsehood against him, against us as a people. Now, finding ourselves in this particular position, what do we do? Are we going to keep quiet? Are we just going to be clapping hands? Are we going to stay divided and allow these people who are creating discords and division among us to continue? Now we've come to the knowledge to see that these people have their own private agenda. They are trying to fulfill a private agenda. Of course, you might say you are praying for the Amazonian people. You are praying for the Amazonian revolution, but that is not enough. There is something you need to do. There is something we ought to do. There is something we need to start doing now, and I take it as a matter of urgency. And what is it? Let me put it again on the screen for you to see. The first thing I think we need to do, that's it. These are the things that you shall do. Speak the truth to one another. Render in your gates judgments that are true and make peace. You understand? Minister Silva, I want you to break this down, but before I give you the microphone, I want to repeat. God is saying to the people of Amazonia, speak the truth. So these are the things you shall do. As Zechariah chapter 8, verse 16. Zechariah chapter 8, verse 16, he says, these are the things you must do. Speak the truth to one another. Means we, the Amazonian, we need to start talking the truth to each other. When you have activists who came or who come online and tell us that Efang is dead, then they will instigate infightings in we lost a lot of people, families, children, warriors, fighters died just because of these lies. They gave La Republic a great room to come into Bui, to kill people. We have activists, some who claim that they are leaders. They came and lied to us that Efan was dead, just because they wanted to support their evil deeds in Bui. Now the Lord is saying to us that we should keep away from such people. You see, these are lies tellings amongst us that are propagating the evil deeds of the enemy. Then he also says, and I love this, render in your gates judgments that are true and that make peace. This is so powerful. When he talks about rendering in your gates, what is a gate? A gate is an entry point. Like a gate is a point of entrance. You know, like most of us have gates to our houses. We have gates to our lives. We have gates to our families. He says at that point of entrance, at that entry point, you should render judgments that are true and judgments that make peace. What does that mean? It simply means that develop principles and institutions and strategies that scrutinizes the system and that scrutinizes every individual that comes into your life or into your revolution or into your territory or into your ministry. You see, that you will scrutinize them. Now, out of the experience of this revolution, we've seen that we can easily be manipulated by activists. And some of these activists are sellouts. Most of them can easily be bought by the enemy. And if we follow them, if we don't scrutinize their words, if we don't scrutinize their persistence, if we don't scrutinize their consistency based on the revolution, if we don't scrutinize them deeply, we'll easily fall into the enemy's pit. And the Lord is saying, I'll put it one more time before I give over the microphone. These are the things that you shall do. First, speak the truth to one another. Ambazonians must speak the truth to one another. Render in your gates judgments that are true. We must learn to start judging our leaders, holding them onto accountability. That's what he's saying. Render in your gates judgments that are true and that make peace. Let me tell you something, Minister Silva. If Ambazonians have been rendering judgments that are true and judgments that make peace, I think that Ayok Tabe and many other leaders in this revolution would have co-aligned. They would have synchronized with the flow of the revolution. Because I ask myself that activists who sit with Ayok Tabe and talk with him, why can't they ask him the pertinent questions? Why can't they ask him the real questions? If we have activists that will ask questions on to Dr. Sako, they will question Dr. Sako and the IG to bring in audits. Why can't they ask the other leaders to bring in their audits? Why are they being selective in their justice? This is what the Lord is saying. He says you must not be selective in your justice. You must be just to all. You must be truthful to all. You must, if you are persecuting A because of something, you must be able to persecute B because of the same thing. If we should be able to apply a law on Bala and the others when they were in jail, we must apply the same law on others who are still in the jail, on Sisiko and the rest who are in that jail. You see, we must not be selective in our justice. And this is what the Lord is saying. He says, render in your gates, in your entry points, judgments that are true. That are true. Somebody must not be above the law. Somebody must not be unquestionable. Sisiko cannot come into a meeting when activists are trying to ask him questions that pertain to the people. He just walks out of the meeting and insults everybody. That is arrogance. But if Dr. Sako should do that, that would be the talk of the day. You see, I just want us to know that this is not a show about individuals, but I'm bringing out these examples because I want us to face the truth. This is part of the truth. Talking and calling out the real names and the real example. Thank you.
Mr. Nanchop, one of the things I have been on my knees praying for in this revolution is for God to continuously expose a lot of things that will open the eyes of Ambazonians who are still somehow blind, to some of the things that some of these people who are out there just to distract and slow down this revolution, has been doing. And God is doing it. That is why you see God is inspiring someone like Pa Tasang to bring out write-ups and expose a lot of things. Pa Tasang is that kind of person that, has stood for the truth, and for some, he has decided to be quiet, but I thank God you know, that the way God does his things, even if you choose to sit with the truth, he will provoke you in such a way that you will release it, because that truth is only the truth that can set Ambazonians free. If we look at a lot of these people who are behind the Konenge IG, if we look at most of them, you know, there are people that are so filled up with tribalistic tendency. Look at Ashu Kings, look at Kemi Ashu, look at people like Mark Barretta, look at people like Ashwabi Boy. All those people are, you know, people who are coming from, you know, a particular lineage from Manu. And I don't want to say all Manu people are like that, because there are a good number of, majority of Manu people stand for the truth. Yeah, it's just those few people.
Minister Silva, with an exception.
Yeah.
Kemi Akshu is an exception, I beg. That one, she is a wonderful patriot to the revolution. I just heard you mention her name, but she's an exception. She's a patriot to the revolution.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, that is a tongue slide for that. But if we look at 90% of the activists that are behind the Kondenge IG, those are people who are so much tribalistic that they have failed to put Ambazonians first, and decided to put individuals because they come from the same, you know, area with those people. And that is what, you know, is causing these people to go about to bring all kind of lies to, you know, manipulate Ambazonians with. And there is another truth I want Ambazonians to know. If we look critically, Mr. Nancho, we came from different backgrounds, you know, and embark on this revolution. Some of us, there are some places that we are coming from that, you know, it doesn't really warrant us to operate, you know, with other people who are also coming from another angle. People have been, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. People have been criticizing, you know, His Excellency Dr. Sako, Chris Anu, and Patasang and all the rest, just because we stand on the side of light, because those are people who are connected to truth, and they call them fake pastors. So they try and do everything to paint that image that these people are fake. But the truth is that if we look at this revolution, Ambazonians must know that in as much as it is a physical war, it is a spiritual war, and it needs people who are grounded spiritually. Mr. Nanchop, I will say this again, and this is the truth. No occultic person will ever take us to Buea. It will never happen, except this is not a God-ordained revolution. If we open our mouth and say this is a God-ordained revolution, then we should be ready to accept those that are spiritually grounded, those that, you know, the pastors that you call and you don't want to believe that God has raised them to lead us to Buea. Because those people that have an understanding of the spiritual aspect of this revolution, it's not just, let me come back to this book of Nehemiah, Mr. Nancho. If we saw when Nehemiah was trying to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem with his people, Sanballat and Tobiah, they, you know, conspired and, you know, and went about and even, you know, influenced to come and fight Nehemiah, you know, in order for them not to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. But Nehemiah, the Bible says that Nehemiah had the mind and the determination, and no matter how the people tried to persecute them, they stood strong, even though they were people that stood to fight that vision. Just like we have, you know, in this revolution, there are people that are bent, you know, to destroy, you know, all the men of God whom God has raised to move on with this revolution, because it is a God-ordained revolution. That is what happened. But Sanballat and Nehemiah did not give up. It came at one point when Nehemiah had to, you know, call God that he saves. He called on the children of Israel to pray to their God. And that is why you will see His Excellency Dr. Sako always call for fasting and prayers, because he understands that this revolution is, in as much as it's a physical battle, we are not fighting, you know, just a physical enemy. Mr. Bia is highly connected spiritually from the other side, you know, from the dark face. I know a lot when it comes to that system, because I've operated with a lot of those people there, you know, even though I rejected to be part of that, you know, the nonsense. But I know those people, I know the occultic realms that people operate in. And so we can never just defeat these people physically. That is why you saw Mr. Bia at one point even brought his occulting masters to Cameroon. And these 5 franc activists, they think that, you know, we can just face this thing, you know, like that physically. So the point I was trying to make, Mr. Nancho, is that some people, if someone tells me their hands are not sore, I never accept. Some of these activists getting right onto the Kondengi, IG and all those people. Why, if their hands were not sore, why do they much hate those that are connected to the truth and who are standing to fight this one? Why have they distanced themselves from Patasan, who is, someone that is connected to the truth? Why have they distanced themselves? It's because light and darkness can never go, and they decided to side with darkness, with Kanto. Kanto is someone that does not believe in our vision. And the Bible says, how can two work together if they don't agree? Ambazonians, open your eyes. Kanto doesn't believe in the vision of, restoration of Ambazonia. And Kondenge IG is there writing to apologize, or write a letter to say that, they don't endorse Patasan, saying that, Ambazonians should not, accept anything concerning Kanto. So just look at it. The truth is obvious. Every day God is exposing it. How can these people who claim that they are our leaders, now start siding with someone that don't agree, and then they put someone aside who is someone that was fought in Bamenda? I used to say, if Patasan, if some of these people were in the place of Patasan in Bamenda when this revolution started, when Patasan had a lot of pressure upon him, they would have sold this revolution. We wouldn't have even known people like Siseko, because we wouldn't have even gotten to this level. I was there in Bamenda when Patasan at Upstation was pressurized, and it came to a level that he stood his point. And when he said no and no, those people were frustrated, and we had Okada riders and truck pushers that had to, guide him back to his home to secure him. If some of these people who claim that they are leaders were in Patan's place, are we sure that they wouldn't have compromised? Let's ask this question. They would have compromised, wouldn't have even gotten to this level. Mr. Nango, Ambazonians, open your eyes. The truth is clear, it is obvious. We are seeing it every day. God is exposing it every day, and that is why I love God. Because, no matter how truth, is popular, one day truth will collapse and sink and will never rise again.
Yeah, you mean lies will collapse?
Sorry, lies. Sorry, I'm really carried. I'm emotional because when I see some of these things happening, I am like, I don't understand what people think. Lies will collapse. Lies will never prevail. Only the truth will prevail.
Yeah, Mr. Silva, you are very right, sir. And of course, I can understand why you are being emotional. And I must say, it's not a sin to be emotional. The Bible says we can be angry, but we should not sin when we are angry. So it means there's an anger that leads to sin. So I can understand the fact that you are being angry over these things that are happening. And to be realistic, it's something that is sad. It's something that nobody in his normal mind can take it as something easy and as something normal. Because when we look at the rate at which our people are dying, you look at the rate at which La Republique is killing our people, our children. I saw some images last night that I couldn't sleep. You saw women that were killed in Babanki. You saw children, men, families just being wasted. You see children being wasted. These children are not even given an opportunity to live. Just like the perpetrators of these evil acts, they were given an opportunity to live. They have lived their lives. They are making decisions to kill others, to eradicate the lives of others. I ask myself, when these soldiers, they go there and they shoot at these children, you shoot at a baby without remorse, how do you feel? I don't understand. You must not be, listen, animals will not even do that to their fellow animal types. I've never seen a lion eating a lion. Maybe it happens, but I've never seen it. I've never seen a goat killing a goat, eating a goat. But we see humans killing themselves, their own species, without remorse. And you go and kill children. You shoot at children. What crime did that child commit? And the international community will sit quiet and all they will say is they should go in for dialogue. This is the international community conspiracy that gets me so pissed off. I just want to get myself together. Dear televiewers, fellow Amazonians, it's hard to look at these things that are happening in our society today. How can you be quiet? How can you be quiet? I mean, looking at the way our people are suffering, looking at the things that are happening in Amazonia, that are happening to our people. Then if you look at the other side of it, you see the degree of evilness that is being portrayed by some of us, the Amazonian people. You are short of words. No, let's get it straight. An activist, you see our people are being killed, our children are being killed daily. An activist will lose his conscience or her conscience to the level where he or she will go and take money from La République and will come to his or her platform. He will not report over the killings of his people. He will not report over the plight of his people. He will not report about those things. He will not report about those things. What he does is he insults the people, boasts to them about his number of views in the internet. You have some people who would rather go and want to beg for the forgiveness of the perpetrators of this evil instead of holding them onto accountability, instead of putting the finger in their wounds and telling them this is a no-go, this is not what we expect. Rather, they will sell their brother like Judas Iscariot selling Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, brothers and sisters. And then you want us to come here and not to talk about these things, not to call these names. You want us to bend on this lies telling. See, the program today is what? We are facing the truth. Facing the truth.
No, that's right.
If you are watching me right now, you are watching us right now, and still in your mind, you are being insultive, and you cannot get the image of what we are saying, then something must be wrong somewhere. And what is being wrong is, I want you to see into it. Either you're not being just enough to call a spade, or you don't just want to accept the truth, because you cannot see our people dying and are suffering and are perishing, and yet some individuals are boasting over their relevance, and you think it's a good thing? It's a good thing? No. 1,000 times no. 1,000 times no. So we need to do something to change the situation. And we need to start facing the facts and the truth. This infightings in this revolution, a lot of infightings we've been having in this revolution is because of falsehood, as I said. Okay, I gave you a simple example and we'll be rounding up soon, but I still want to reiterate this example. Look at what happened in the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I mean, from January through the end of from December through the end of the January, there was this upheaval all over in Amazonia, especially in the Bui County, about General Ephraim and about Chacha. This thing even led to the death of a lot of people, a lot of children, a lot of families. La République took advantage of it and came and killed so many people. We even lost General Chacha, you see. But if you look at the story that the ADF, Tapang Ivo, Eric Tato, they all came out, they polluted the name and the IG. They said they killed Ephraim. That was the message they gave the people, and that was the message they brought out there, and that was the message that they gave the people in order for them to justify why they were giving La République a room to go into Bui and to kill Chacha. They lied to us that it was La République who killed Chacha, but later we discovered that it was them who killed Chacha. So why would they be lying to the people just for them to justify their evil action? And then for us to discover now that all what they told us was a lie. Ephraim was not dead. So look at the amount of energy, the amount of time, money, life wasted. Energies of some of you on this social media right now, you insulted, I mean, people fought on social media. There was a lot of war based on what? On lies telling, falsehood. Those who came and told us that Ephraim was dead, the ADF, Tapang Ivo and the rest, they came out and they go to their walls, you have those messages. Eric Tato, they told us that Efan was dead and Efan was killed by the IG. Where did they have this information? How credible was this information? And this is not the first time we are seeing this thing. The same time, Eric Tato, he came and said, Secretary Chris stole 18,000 from California. When we contacted, I brought the California people on ABC. They told us that, and I even brought their treasurer, who was the one said it was a lie. They never gave Secretary Chris any of such money. So where does this activist, where do they have this information? I'm asking, what is their source of their information? We also heard them said, the IG and Dr. Sako at my trip to Buea. Sisiko even came out and was insulting Dr. Sako. He said fake pastors. He said all silly things against Dr. Sako for embezzlement and the rest. Only for us to discover that it was Sisiko and Tabenya who took the money of my trip to Buea and who are still sitting on it up to today. Yet every day, Eric Tato and the rest, they will come and they are insulting Dr. Sako. Why are they doing this? Why all this falsehood, Amazonians? Why? What is the aim of this? What are the aims of this individual? What do they want to aim? When they come to us and they tell us a lot of lies about our leaders, just to create infightings, just to make us hate our leaders, just to make us not support the county by county system, just to make us not support this revolution. Is it because this revolution is something that will bring the freedom of Amazonia? Is it because Dr. Sako is not from Manu? Because if you look at somewhere like Eric Tato, just like you were saying, Minister Silva, he comes up every day. And Ashu Kingsley, all this, and look at most of them who are even commenting on Facebook right now. Look at them. Agbo, Eta, Eyong, Oben. Has this thing become a country meeting? Has this revolution become a country meeting where those people, I'm sorry to say this, most of the people from Manu, not even most of them, some, I want to correct myself, sorry. Some of the people from Manu feel that, like Eric Tato, Ashwabi Boy, and the rest, they just feel that they will hijack the revolution and create confusion and deceive the people of Amazonia, tell them a lot of lies just because it is not Sisiko who is still in power right now. This is nonsense. And I need to say this to make the equation balance. I know of a lot of Manu people who are very just, like their Manu chair, county chair, a just man. And I know of a lot of just Manu people, and I love most of them for that. But we still have, you know, even among the good things, you always have some sellouts, like Eric Tato and the rest. I have no better name to call them. I lack a better adjective to give them, to describe them. But it's sad, my brother, it's sad. That's why I'm panting and I'm shouting like this, because it's so painful to see that these individuals who lie to us, instigate a lot of evil actions amongst Amazonians based on their evil ideologies and lifestyles, and then allow the people to fight against themselves, and then they will sit and they are happy. These are the things that only an enemy can do. And if they are doing it, they are to me enemies of Amazonia. They are to me, because it is only La Republic that will be happy to bring lies amongst us, then see us fight amongst ourselves, then fold their arms and clap. If not, why would you be doing that? What gain is that to the revolution? Of what profit is that to the revolution? When you come and lie against Dr. Sako, lie against Chris Anu, lie against the fighters, the generals at Ganzuro, so that they should be killed. And then you go, you are happy. Some of them are even lying against Field Marshal of Lebi Alem, and they want him to be killed. Somebody who is fighting to liberate all of us, Amazonians. And we are tolerating these things. Listen, quote me anywhere. Anybody who is an enemy to the Amazonian people is not different from La Republic, should be treated like you would treat the agents of La Republic. Be it any person, your brother, your sister. Let me tell you a shocking story. A friend of mine called me yesterday. I was speaking with him. He called me from Gabon, and he told me that his brother, whom I know, we all grew in the same vicinity, quartier, as we call it, that his brother was dead. And I was shocked. Why was he killed? He said the brother was dead because he was a sellout to La Republic, and because he was later on was collecting money from La Republic to show the hideouts. So they killed his brother. And I was feeling sorry for him that they killed your brother. I was like, okay, your brother is dead. He said to me, he's not regretting it, that his brother is dead, because his brother, his own blood brother, somebody I knew, I grew up with, He said he's not regretting the death of his brother because his brother had taken side with the enemy. When he said that to me, tears were coming out of my eyes because I see somebody who will stand for justice, even to the point where he's losing his own blood brother. He said to me he does not care that his brother is killed because his brother had taken side with the enemy to fight against the people, Ambazonians. And some of you will stand with people just because they are of the same tribe with you, even though they are taking sides with the enemy to kill our people. This is somebody who will tell me that he does not regret the death of his brother because his brother had taken side with the enemy to kill the people of Amazonia. And he will not see 8 million people being killed by the enemy for the sake of his brother. He said he does not regret the death of his brother. This is somebody who have decided to stand on the truth. Yet some of you Amazonians, you cannot confront some of these activists who have taken sides with the enemy and are constantly telling lies against us in this revolution. They are constantly deceiving us with lies. They told you lies last year. They told you lies last month. They told you lies last week, and you are still believing the same lies this week, even after the truth has come out that these guys are inconsistent and their lies tell us. What else do you want? And you really want us that we are to believe that we are on the same room, we're on the same track, we are fighting for the same cause? No. And I will give you this conclusion. Listen, if a brother will not regret the death of his brother because his brother was to sell out to La Republique, I will not regret the death of any activist, the death of any leader in this revolution who will compromise with the enemy to kill our people. Because I believe in justice. I believe that the Amazonian people should not be slaughtered like animals. I believe that the Amazonian people have the right to justice. I believe that the women and the children, they have the right to be protected. And anyone who join the enemy to kill our women, kill our children, burn our villages, should be treated as an enemy, independent of who he or she is. Thank you.
You know, Mr. Nanchop, when you speak like that, I am also convicted, you know, that these people, they don't know what they are joking with, especially where to fight this IG. The Bible says that when Abiram, you know, and his friend, they were against Moses, and they were like, why is it that everything is Moses? Because they also wanted to be in charge. And God got angry when Moses cried to God. God said, they have not, you know, provoked you, but they have provoked me. So most of these things that these people are doing, they think that they are provoking this IG or Dr. Sako or you know, Chris or anyone that stands with the IG. They are not. They are simply attracting the wrath of God upon them. And if they continue in this aspect, I think God alone knows the kind of judgment he's going to pass on them. None of us will pass any judgment on them. God himself will pass his judgment upon them. Because like I rightly said, if up to now people still don't know that this IG is a God-ordained IG and has to be led by people who are spiritually connected so that they can read the atmosphere of the times spiritually and advance with the revolution, then we, you know, don't know the truth. If we look at some people, let me just take this again to another level. We see people like Frunzi. A lot of people have been bothering why Frunzi has not bought our case, has not caught this vision, you know, of the restoration of Ambazonia. Is because Frunzi has a stronger ties with La Republique in the spiritual realm. Frunzi is more connected with Mr. Bia in the spiritual realm. They know where they meet spiritually in the dark phase. And that is why, you know, he will never stand. He is at the tight corner. He is, you know, that kind of person that would have loved, you know, the freedom and the restoration of, you know, Ambazonia. But he is already engaged in, you know, a relationship in the spiritual realms with La Republique that he finds it difficult, you know, to separate himself from. So it's the same thing with some of these people, Mr. Nanchop. You know, they are, you know, so involved that is why you find them fighting anything that has to do with, you know, those that are connected to God in this revolution. Who would have expected that these people could even open their mouth and talk against pardon? that is someone that, has been focused, has been quiet. Who would have ever expected these people, to ever open their mouth, to speak against someone like that? But this is just, to reveal to us that the darkness that is against this revolution is not only coming from La République. There are some among us, that are, the darkness in this revolution. And that is why, if you see, God delayed the children of Israel from entering the promised land because he wanted to separate light from darkness. He didn't want to carry darkness into the promised land. And that is what is going to happen in this revolution. God would definitely, filter all those that have hardened their hearts and decided to dine with the enemy,
Yes.
and God will put them aside, and the real people who are genuine, who are fighting for Ambazonia, fighting for the freedom of Ambazonia, will enter the promised land. From their ways, you will know them. The Bible makes it clear that from their ways, you will know them. If you look like a Ashwabi boy, that was the first person that endorsed this Kamtos movement, the BAS, and went and was having programs with them. That's somebody that does not buy our vision. So his master in Kondengi, Siziko Ayoktabi, also is proving, that they are birds of the same feather. So we shouldn't even bother, because the truth will always prevail. The truth will always prevail. So what else can we say, Ambazonians? Stay focused and, believe that God is with us in this revolution. God is with us. Yeah.
Yeah, Minister Silva, before we round up, I just want to, before we round up on this show, I want to read something to the people. And I have a message of encouragement to my people. And this is to me one of the essence of this show. I have a special message of encouragement to the people of Ambazonia. And let me put it on the screen for us to read through it. Now, this is the Lord speaking to the prophet Zechariah. Thus said the Lord of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east and from the west country, and I will bring them to I will bring them to dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, Ambazonia. And they shall be my people, and I will be their God in faithfulness and in righteousness. If you read the book of Zechariah, this is God speaking to the prophet Zechariah, talking about Zion. You need to study the story and then to know what had happened to them before then. What they have suffered. And now this is God telling them about their future. This is God bringing a message of hope to the people. He said, behold, I will save my people from the east and from the west. He said, I will save you from all these wars. I will save you from all these troubles, from all these killings. I will save you. You know what it means for you to be in your own country from your childhood to your old age and never to be recognized as a citizen of that country where you were born, where your placenta was buried, where you know that this is where you belong, but never to be recognized and accepted. This is what La République has done to us in all the years. They made us never feel at home, even in our own houses. They called us foreigners in our own country. They insulted us. Oh, I remember those days when we go out, you enter into a French office, they'll ask you, qu'est-ce que tu fais ici? Sors dehors, si tu n'es pas français, sors. It means if you don't speak French, get out of this place. C'est ça, les Nigériens. They will insult you. And I even remember once when I traveled to Europe, I was in a community, they plugged us together. They said a community of Cameroonian students. So they plugged us together, mixed with Francophones and Anglophones. And I was the only then Anglophone. And even amongst us, thank God, because I could speak better German than all of them there in that group. So while we were there, we had a situation where The Francophones were still calling me a foreigner, even though all of us were foreigners in a different man's country. They were addressing me as a foreigner. And then even the Germans who were in that institution, recognizing us as people from Cameroon, they were confused. They said, how can you people come from the same country, you don't speak the same language, and yet some of those amongst yourself are against others that they are foreigners. Foreigners, for all of you are foreigners in my country. So it was a manifestation of stupidity. But these are the things we have suffered. You see, you could see that the soul of that country was divided. We can never be as one people. And this is the boundary that we must respect. This is the separation we must respect, because I don't see a possibility of us living with those people. I don't see it. So I stick to it. This will be the best solution, the best thing that will even happen to them, the French Camerooners, because they can now stick with their French language and with their dictatorship system. We will go into our country and build our system. But this is what the Lord is saying. He says he will free you from those things. He said he will free us from those things. He will free us from those things. He will free us from these wars with La République and these battles where a soldier can come and shoot your children, shoot your wife, shoot your husband, and doesn't feel for them. Yes, because he doesn't think they are humans. You can only treat animals that way. Even animals, you cannot treat them that way, the way they treat us. So God says he will free us from those things. He will save us. And I love what he says in Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. He says, and I will bring them to dwell in the midst of Amazonia. Yes, that's Jerusalem. He said in Jerusalem, I'm putting Amazonia because I'm prophetically receiving it from my people and from my nation. He says, and I will bring them to dwell in the midst of Amazonia. He said, and they shall be my people. Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. He said, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God in faithfulness and in righteousness. That sounds to me like there will be justice in the land. Everyone will be equal before the law. Yes, and the people will not allow themselves to be exploited by foreign powers. And this is why the United Nations, the European Union, and the rest of the world, they are so afraid of the ideology of Amazonia. They are so afraid of us as a nation of Amazonia. They are so afraid of us as a people, Amazonia, because they know they've heard of, they've sat down, they've heard us talk. They've listened to us. They have listened to the language. They are listening to us right now. And they know these are people that cannot be deceived. They know these are people that can never allow themselves to be exploited. What they are trying to do right now, and I believe, is to do what? To test how far we can go. That's why they are trying to bribe and deceive some people amongst us to see how many of us can still buy into the ideology of bribery. It's a shame that some people call themselves leaders and they're still falling into that. But the hope I'm seeing for the people, and my concluding message today is that, brothers and sisters, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, because God himself has given us a message of hope that he is going to deliver us from all this. And I want you to know that even if you don't believe it, I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Nanchop. I believe you've said it all. And the Amazonians should be focused and not be distracted by all this lies telling that is out there by La République and some that are within us. We closer, and God has been doing, so much these days. God has been doing a lot of things, and I strongly believe that there are still some things that God is gonna expose in, days to come. And I want to send a special encouragement to the people of Ngabui. I would just want them to continue to, be steadfast and stay strong, knowing that God is with them, irrespective of the carnage, the massacre that La République carried there using their terrorist soldiers. We stand with the people of Ngabu, and we will continue to pray for them, and we will continue to stand with them until we get to Buea. And those in Gorky Tunja, that La République went into just after the carnage or the massacre in Ngabui, those in Gorky Tunja, we heard what happened. Also, we just want to say, please be strong. We are with you. Be strong and be encouraged in the Lord. Things like that happen during a war, and we strongly believe that God is out of La Republique's frustration, that they are doing all these things, especially as we succeeded to completely, stop the elections in our land. We discovered that after that they have escalated the killings because of how frustrated they are. But Ambazonians, all this should be a proof that we are winning and that God is slowly taking us to Buea. And it is a proof, or let me put it this way, it is just another way of God exposing them and selling this revolution to the rest of the world. Because I believe if there is any point in time that the international community has, turned their attention towards what is happening in Ambazonia, it is now. And it is as a result of the frustration of La Republique that has provoked them to, carry all this evil in Ambazonia. And so please, we are praying for you, and we know God is with us, and we will get to Buea. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless Ambazonia.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
See what the terrorist regime of La Republique du Cameroon are doing to our innocent people. They were looking for money. Since they couldn't see money, they decided to take the life of this innocent child for about 2 months. We are pleading for the intervention of the international community.
Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia rising, rising, rising. Ambazonia rising to fall no more. Ambazonia rising, rising, rising. Ambazonia rising to fall no more. Them are shooting us, them are killing us, them are burning our houses, oh. Them are killing us, them are shooting us, them are raping our children. Wait till we do, oh. 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 Atanga Chipolo. Wait till we do, oh. Mr. Pia. Wait till we do, oh. La Republico. Wait till we do, oh. UN is watching when they are killing us. They are burning our houses, oh. AU is watching when they are killing us. They are raping our children. The land is green, the land is beautiful. That's the reason they are killing us. The land is green, the land is beautiful. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation. Look at that father, he is crying, bearing his only son. Look at that mother, she is weeping, the kid, her only child. Look at that little girl, she is crying. No
start a new career.
The
as a
thing to
little-
try when all else fails is again. The person who really wants to do something finds a way. The person who does not finds an excuse. The person who prevails is the person who refuses to give up. The person with the mental toughness is the person who will triumph. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. The man who can get up one more time than the time he's knocked down is going to be the winner. Being knocked down is not a problem, but staying down is a problem. Get up, because success begins by getting up one more time than you've been knocked down. The Bible declares in Proverbs 24:16, listen to this: for though a righteous man falls 7 times, he rises again. For though a righteous man falls 7 times, he rises again. Again. You're not a failure for falling down. You're a failure for staying down.
You know, it's amazing how many people in the world have done phenomenal things after having failed numerous times in their life. And so failure doesn't have to be the end. Making mistakes doesn't have to be the end. I think most people, if they're going to be successful, they have to press through some things. And one of the things that we tend to do, or one of the lies that the enemy tells us is, well, there's just no way. There's no way. There's no way out. But we have to remember that there's always a way out. And those of us who are believers in Jesus Christ know that he said in John 14:6, I am the way. We may not know the way, and he may not be telling us the way, but he wants us to believe that he is the way maker. God will make a way for you, but he does require you to never give up.
You may be tired today. You've been dealing with a challenge in your health, a relationship, in your finances for years. You used to believe that you would overcome, but now you're worn down. You don't think it's ever going to happen. Let me encourage you. What God promised, he's still going to bring to pass. You may have given up, but God has not given up. He has your healing, your breakthrough, your promotion, the right people. Now do your part. Get your passion back. Start taking hold of his strength. Don't allow that weariness in. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you so hard unless he knew you were close to your victory. He couldn't take you out, so he's trying to wear you out, get you weary, discouraged. Don't fall into that trap. All through the day, Lord, thank you that you're renewing my strength. Thank you that I will soar like the eagles. Thank you that I am strong in the Lord. That battle may be taking a long time, but I believe right now, strength is coming into you. Hope is coming into you. God is filling you with fresh courage, determination, vision. You will run and not be weary. You will walk and not faint.
Don't give up on yourself, because if you do, then what you're saying is God's not big enough to change me. There's nobody that is beyond change. God can change every single one of us. I don't want you to give up. I don't want you just to throw in the towel and quit. If all you can do right now is just get out of that bed and walk across the room, do something. And if you'll do what you can do, God will do what you cannot do.
The difference between possibility and the impossible lies in your own personal persistence. Persistence is the path to victory for every champion. Run to win. Be a champion for Jesus Christ. Fight the good fight. Endure hardness as a soldier of Jesus Christ. Press on in the heat of spiritual warfare. Press on in the darkest night of your sorrow. When you've lost the dearest on earth. Press on when all seems lost and hopeless. Press on when your dreams have been shattered and seem hopelessly outdated. Press on when your friends forsake you. When your best friend walks out, Jesus Christ, your best friend, walks in. Press on, because the God of heaven will never leave you nor forsake you, even to the ends of the earth. Press on, press on, press on, press on, press on, press on. The victory is yours if you will not quit.